All right, I'm just getting together right now. Just just been plugging away. I want to show my setup. Basically, just kind of going through the different things that I do have in my home assistant, and just a small history. If you haven't seen my previous videos, I started with smart homes when, well, actually, I went to my brother-in-law's house in Chicago, and my wife and I we stayed there for a couple of nights, and he was showing off. He had like maybe 3 or 4 bulbs around Wi-Fi connected to Smart Life, to the Alexa app, um, and he had like maybe 1 or 2 Alexa speakers, and he will call out, you know, Alexa, turn on the lights, you know, and the lights came on. I was kind of impressed by that, and so what happened when we got back home, we actually had to move, and we moved into a house. And when we tried to get electricity, this one electric company said, "Hey, you get electricity with us, and we'll give you a free Alexa device." It was Alexa Dot. It was an Echo Dot, the second, I believe, the second generation. It looks like a hockey stick one, not the big round one. This was about, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years ago, I think. So and I still have that same speaker today. But and then I decided, okay, let me get a couple of Wi-Fi bulbs. I went to Walmart, got their bulbs. I don't remember the name of the product, but I got their bulbs, connected it to the Smart Life app, just like my um, brother-in-law did, and it was cool. Now my bulbs were color. Was not impressed with the color output of the Walmart bulbs. Um, very less than enthused. The whites, it only did soft white. It didn't have uh, variable white levels. It either went to soft white or it did very dim colors. So I was kind of disappointed. I was like, oh man, this is not cool. Then I did some research and found that Singlet was a pretty good brand. Got it. I bought 4 of them, put it, throughout the house, and I bought the Singlet hub, and worked pretty great with Alexa. I was able to do you know, a few automations with it. Just basic stuff like turn on the lights at night. At 12 o'clock midnight, it dimmed the lights, but the lights stayed on. Just very basic stuff. And then I bought 4 more. Just kept buying more and more bulbs. Pretty soon, I had a house full of bulbs. But what I've noticed is that when I finally got every single lamp with a singlet bulb. And singlet, it uses SIGP protocol. Just before I get into that, I bought Smart Things. I decided to get Smart Things, so I was able to do more elaborate. And I also bought motion detectors and door contact sensors, um, which were connected to the back door and the front door. Um, and so I did that, and but then I noticed that the network was slow. So I would say, Alexa, turn on kitchen lights. And about 5, 6 seconds later, bloop. And then the motion detectors, I had, lights in the hallways. So naturally, you go to the hallway, the light should turn on. It took 5 seconds. Maybe on the worst days, maybe 8 seconds. So I'm sitting there like scratching my head, like, why is it doing this? And it was doing it to bulbs nearby the Smart Things hub and bulbs that were far away. It was the same everywhere. And I was like, why? So then I contacted Smart Things, and they said you can plug in up to 128, but we have known some people do up to 150. I'm like, then why is my network so slow? No one had an answer for me. Um, then I found Home Assistant. So I thought Home Assistant would be better. So I slowly migrated everything to Home Assistant. I noticed how, because of local control, I w- the reaction of the lights were so much faster. It was like boom. So then I went from one room to another. Once maybe one room a day, and I just okay, let me work on the kitchen. Bloop. They work on the living room. Boop. All right, let's get some in the bathroom, and then it slowed down again. I bought the Sonoff Zigbee coordinator. To be the Zigbee coordinator, I use Zigbee to MQTT. But then I decided, you know what? Let me switch over to ZHA. I'm not British, but ZHA, and try to see if that will work better. I didn't like it. I don't like CHA. I know some people prefer it. So I switched back to Zigbee to MQTT, repaired all the bulbs, repaired all the contacts. And by this time, I had like temperature sensors, I had buttons, the door contact sensors, motion detectors in every room. Because in the living room, I specified after 1 hour, if there's no activity, turn off the lights. I even bought the Aquara Hub Cube, and my network was still slow. And then there were some devices that were dropping off. And I'm like, so then I'll turn, either unscrew the light or turn off the switch, wait a few seconds, turn it back on, and it worked for a little bit, and then it started either disconnecting or it started slowing down. So eventually, I was really getting frustrated. Okay, and I had all singlet bulbs. It was everything was singlet. Um, did some research about this and finally found the answer. Someone in the home assistant community was complaining about slowness of their network. They had like over 90 bulbs, um, and they were singlets. And I was like, well, why is singlet doing this? And then there were people on home assistant communities where they were saying, well, I got like, 150 devices. I had no issue. And I'm like, I wonder if they're just bragging. I actually thought they were lying. I really did. I have, I don't know, how many do I have here? I have 85 devices, not bulbs, but devices connected to my smart home. If I click on map, it's going to take forever and it would mess up my recording. So I'm not going to do that. But what I started to do, or what I found out, is that Singlet doesn't route. Now, when I did my research, sort of, I found that Singlet is like a mesh network. So, but then I also understood that anything that, well, and that's the key word, anything. Hear me out. Anything that literally plugs into constant power, like a light bulb, a plug, um, and of course Zigbee, will act as a repeater router. And so I'm like, wow, okay. Um, but then of course I knew that door sensors, anything that's battery powered, you don't want to run out the batteries, so those are considered end devices. I was getting so frustrated with this. But when I found out that Singlet is an end device as well, I got pissed. Now I can't be mad at Singlet. Nowhere, if you go on their website, there is. I mean, they have the Bluetooth mesh, but it's not Zigbee mesh. Nowhere on their website do they talk about our bulbs, our routers. Um, Started doing some research, found Xiaomi, um, which is Sylvania brand, Ostrom, and bought a few of those. And some of those bulbs wouldn't pair. Some of them, so I ended up returning a lot of these bulbs. And so it was like half the bulbs didn't work and the other half did. And as you can see, I still have a few of them. Eventually, I will be replacing these with newer bulbs. The bulbs that are all devices that were in devices never have issues. Well, the Aquara Cube, sometimes it does disconnect and I have to take the battery out, put it back in. So be it. It's the only one of its kind, as far as I know. I'll stick with it. But Sylvania, um, I bought maybe 16 of them to try to replace, and they were cheap. Well, you know, when you pay, when you buy something cheap, you pay for what you get. So I'm like, okay, I returned all those bulbs, but I still have what, six left here. So I was kind of like, okay, these are all the sensors. I have third reality sensors, Tuya button hubs or bedroom buttons. This is a Tuya Zigbee. And let me see here. And I have, to improve the network, I thought, well, you know what? I have a bunch of lights that I want to put in every room, but I don't want them to stay on during the day. I only want them on at night. So I bought a bunch of night lights that don't have the light sensors on it, and I set a timer on it where it comes on at sunset, turns off at sunrise, and these Sonoffs are router repeaters. I thought by replacing all my Wi-Fi devices with Sonoff, it would improve the network. It did. It actually did, but not 100%. Not 100%. All my Most of my singlets that were further away from my Zigbee coordinator were falling off the network, and I still have a few. My bedroom is far away from the network. In fact, let me sort this some more. So in my bedroom, I have this lamp. I have the um, the smaller bulbs for this one. I have this one. No, that's a inner. I have this one, and these were dropping off the network like nothing. I did some more research, and I'm like, Philips Hue, you're looking good right now, because I hear nothing but good things about Philips Hue. Um, Problem was they're expensive. I mean, good grief. You know, I know some people say, well, you pay for what you get. Philips is the best. But really, do they really have to charge that much for Philips Hue? And I want it full color. I even tried to get the lowest wattage. Well, it's not 60 watts, but it's 60 watts equivalent. Um, and of course, if you want something bright, you can always get the 100-watt equivalent. But I wasn't willing to spend that much money on Philips. So I found these guys. Enter. Now I am taking a chance. They are a very fresh, brand new company. Um, and I hope that they stay in business. I have started to invest all of my bulbs. I started replacing most of my bulbs with Enter. And the only Sinlets I have left is now just about a page and a half long. That's it. So I am now using nothing but inner bulbs. Well, I mean, I'm trying to get rid of the singlets, and I'm also trying to replace all my Xiaomi's. because even though these Xiaomi's are working, like I said, half of them actually work well. Um, I do notice that there's a little bit of flickering in them, so I think it's time to replace these. So I will be, oh, not Xiaomi, I'm sorry, Sylvania. I keep saying Xiaomi, I meant Sylvania bulbs needs to be replaced, and I am replacing those a few at a time. Now, Inner is more expensive than Singlet, but a lot cheaper than Philips Hue. And but so far, I haven't had any problems with my singlets or my inners. Even I have a singlet that's way on the opposite side of the house, in device, working just fine. But it took all of these inner bulbs to create that perfect network. So we got Sonoff inner that's creating that mesh network that is providing that network to all my other bulbs all over the house. So, good word of advice: don't buy anything cheap. I've always said this: don't go expensive, but don't go cheap either. Get something in the middle of the road. In the middle of the road is Enter. Again, I'm taking a chance with them because they are a brand new company. Um, I hope that they're getting enough business to keep them afloat, and they have good business practice because I really want to invest more into Enter because they are offering, I believe, it's a good product. Time will tell, of course. See, as far as how long those bulbs will last. Some of my singlets actually started not working much anymore. They work well, and then they stop working, and so they do have a shelf life, or not a shelf life, but they do have a performance life. And after about 2 or 3 years, maybe four, they do eventually start to perform not as well as when they were first purchased. So I can imagine the same thing will happen with Enter. After about 3 or 4 years, I have to replace them. And either another company or Enter will probably still be in business. I would like to buy some more Enter bulbs and replace it. Now, one thing that's great about Home Assistant is that as long as you're using the same entity ID, all right, and these are entities here. Let me just put a bedroom. So as long as this is the same, okay, let me pull up a light. All right, so that we got this. Here is the light, and this is a light. This is a light right here. So as long as this stays the same, if I replace the bulb, yes, I had to pair it, and then I rename it in Zigbee to MQTT, and it will then take on that bulb's automations. The only thing I've noticed is that automations, no issue. Scripts, no issue. The only thing I've noticed, and even helpers, when you group stuff, no issues. When you delete an old bulb and then you replace it with a new bulb with the same name, your scenes will lose that bulb. And so what I started doing, now we're moving to a different segment here because this is my current setup was when it comes to my bulbs. I started out, I mean, I was fresh. I was trying to figure things out. I, didn't want to really touch scripts because I thought it would be difficult. It's actually very easy. Also, I learned about setting up, I'll show you an example. When you call service, I can, instead of doing scenes, I can literally just set up lights on and then choose a few bulbs. And then I can do different colors right here, brightness, and I found this out. I can do transitions. Oh, that is so great. I was so happy to find this. So I've been slowly moving my scenes over to scripts. And then in my automations, instead of calling scenes, I am literally calling scripts. And so it's a little bit of, because let me see all this here. That's a lot of different scenes. And there are some scenes I will keep. Like I have a Christmas theme, flamingo, fruit, Miami, red, white, and blue. Of course, America. Safari. I have a sunset outdoor scene, which is basically just red and yellow. And then, of course, sunrise, you get that blue, yellow. So I got that going there. And I will call these scenes whenever I so choose. I can turn these on and it just looks pretty. But and I have each light displaying a different color that represents a safari look, or the colors of the United States. Fruit color is like a rainbow. It's just a lot of colors everywhere. Miami is that hot pink and in light blue color, which is cyan. And flamingo is dark pink and light pink. Probably more like let's take a look at it. Okay, so you see this color here is that color and this color, wherever that color is, like a light purple, but I'm sure there's a word for it. So that's flamingo. Um, and so I'm slowly moving off of this. I would like to have a few scenes in here for special occasions. And when I call that, I can stop automation on the rooms where the scenes are set in order to produce that color, and it will stay that color until I turn that scene off. Um, so that's what I really want to do. Now here's some other things that I really love about Home Assistant. A lot of the plugins are already accepted into the integrations. These are curated plugins or applications called integrations that the Home Assistant crew, the people who developed this and update it every single month, they create. No, they don't create them, but they accept these apps. So third-party creators, like developers, they do this for fun. They're not getting paid for this at all. Somebody created AccuWeather, AirNow, Alarmo, Alexa Media Player, Blitz, which is a lightning. It picks up from your local weather service and brings in different lightnings in your area. You can set it to like maybe 20 miles. And if it detects that, you can set an automation to let you know that there's a lightning storm coming, which is pretty cool. I don't have any Bluetooth yet. CO2 signal. I mean, as you can see, there's a lot of different things. You can do a DNS IP, which I like that because, I'm on a dynamic DNS. My IP address is my IP address changes maybe once every 3 months. I'm not exactly sure, but if I want to know my IP address, instead of trying to do a who is and all that, I look in Home Assistant. Too easy. Um, I forgot what that one's for. Oh, this is basically a daily reading of ERCO. ERCO is my electric provider, and it's basically showing me what their output is throughout the whole entire state. So 80,000 kilowatts. Now they're producing somewhere around 55 kilowatts or 55,000 megawatts. Mega. My bad. I mean, of course, they're producing way more than that because they got to provide electricity for everybody. I got TEPC on here because my wife and I, we're going to be moving to Arizona soon. And where we're moving to, TEPC will be our electric provider. Now, our billing won't be through TEPC. They provide the electricity, but they have like maybe five or six, you know, companies that actually charges you for it. So it's stupid, I know, but it's how they do things. Um, and then let's see, Google Cast, Groovy Lights is cool. So only got one Groovy light at this time, but what I want to do is start when we move into our new house. I want to install some outdoor lighting in the backyard as well as the front. And so having this already on here, it's already set up. I just got to import it into Home Assistant from the Groovy app. This is not um, local. It is cloud based. I tried it because I disconnected my Wi-Fi or I unplugged. I disconnected the internet um, and tested it out in Groovy. Local to you does not work without the internet. Oh well. Hacks has agent. Um, has agent is this bad boy right here, and it is actually connected to the computer where I can send commands to my computer to actually speak. And I can also do notifications. It's not going to show it now because I'm on Do Not Disturb. But if you, let me pull up the sensors. I got all these sensors running. It basically tells Home Assistant when I turn off and on my webcam. I put a 10-minute on that. I did it, let me see, is it 10 minutes or is it 10 seconds? 10 seconds. I put it at 10 seconds, 60 seconds, and all that because, um, if you have this going at 5 seconds, that's one, a lot of data going into Home Assistant. And two, the computer will be busy doing that. So I decided to only limit this to a few items 60 seconds, 60 seconds, and every, I believe that's an hour. I'm not going to try to calculate anything on top of my head right now. But yeah, it will send the current clock speed. So, I mean, it's just a good way. And let me show you what that looks like. It's really cool. So I'm going to do a search for, um, yeah, that's it. I was trying to remember what the name was. So the current volume. I turned up the volume recently, and that's what it's doing. I turned down the volume. See GPU temperature, which okay. The sensors are only as good as your computer. There's probably not a sensor on the GPU. That's what I'm guessing. Last active, it's just showing me what I did. Let me see. Logged in user, of course, it's me. Memory usage, it fluctuates. So this is really cool. This is really good data because you can look at this historical data and determine what went wrong at any given time. Microphone usage, of course, right now I'm using the microphone, so that's why it's showing that, and I'm using PowerPoint, so that's about right. MSOSREC. So that's really a cool feature. I really found that to be great. Um, Now, I'm not going to go through every one of these, but through a YouTuber, check out Lightener. I love it. It's so awesome. Something else I find really amazing is how the lights can change the white color from a orange light to a brighter white at whenever the sun is above us, and it changes it automatically. When I put that plugin in, I was like, this is amazing. So throughout the day, if any white lights are on, if it's turned on, it will literally change that light throughout the day to where the sun's position is at. So I find that to be an awesome plugin for this, and that's under Hacks. It is a Hacks plugin, and let me see, it is under circadian lighting. Really cool. I'm telling you, this is like one of the best. Let's go back to integrations before I go into anything else. I'm not going to go through every single one of these. This comes with Home Assistant right here. So the sun, no, I think moon you have to add as separate. National Weather Service, which is really nice. We have four mobile phones, two old phones that we still keep around, and two phones that we currently use. And by installing the Home Assistant app, I'm able to see just about everything you can imagine about my phone. How much storage is it charging? Last used app, transmissions, data, just a lot of different things. It's just amazing. Um, Let me see. I think this is what? Oh, this weather. Okay. I was trying out different weather apps and I've never removed it. No big deal. My system hasn't crashed yet. So, oh, notifications for Android TV. So while you're watching TV, let's say you're, blasting Jurassic Park and it's really loud, okay? Someone knocks on the door or rings the doorbell. How do you know someone did that if you can't hear it? Well, a notification could pop up in the bottom right of your Android or Fire TV. They also have the same thing, I believe, for Roku. For those who use Roku, um, I'm not sure about any other TVs, but I know for sure because I have an Android TV and I got a Fire Stick connected to it. So when we're watching Fire Stick and on the Android TV, it shows a pop up saying front door um, doorbell, activated or something like that. It says when we open and close the door. If I know no one's at home and I'm watching a movie that's really loud and it says front door open, I will pause the TV and go meet my wife at the front door because I saw the message. I'm going to go greet her. But I'm not scared out of my wits if she comes up behind me and startles me because I already know that the front door open. But again, too, if my wife is sleeping and I'm in the living room watching TV and it says front door open, then it's time to get a bat, maybe even a gun. But anyway, open UV, I mean, is really great because it shows you um, all the data that comes from the local UV. Now, if you look at skin type 1, that's all that is. So I went to the UV page about UV rays on Wikipedia. And so this is always burn, never tans, usually burns, tans minimally. And let's skip down to never burns. It actually tells you, oh, it's showing unknown now because it is what almost 4 o'clock in the morning. There's no UV concern at this time. Um, Let me pull up somebody who's or maybe this guy right here. So it's telling you that you don't want to spend no more than 23 minutes. And then because it's nighttime, you can be outside as much as you want. But during the day, a person who usually burns tans normally or tans minimally, you want to keep that to 20. Ooh, at 2 o'clock p.m., it was 19 minutes. Wow. So protection window means off and on. I believe protection window is when you need to put on your sunscreen. If it lights up, yeah, you need protection. Max UV, it's just kind of telling you. Then it drops when the sun goes down, and blah 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 blah. It's really a good tool, and you can put it on your dashboard so that you can have quick access to what's going on. Present simulation, it really is a good tool to simulate what Guard does on Alexa. Now I still have Guard running. When I exit the house, Home Assistant tells Alexa to turn on Guard. And that's a good thing because I want to make sure that there is some activity happening in the house. The speakers every single hour will say the time. There's lights turning on and off throughout the night. So between the present simulation and Alexa, these lights will be turning off and on throughout the night. and it's really great. Present simulation actually takes time to learn your behaviors, just like the Alexa Guard does. And you can choose which of these lights are going to be activated. So if someone is scoping out the house and they see lights turning off and on, even though there's no car in the driveway, they're going to be a little concerned that someone might still be at home. Um, there is no foolproof for that, but I think it's a good idea. It's like an extra step to security. Shopping list is cool. I'll show you that in a minute. Speed test. It does a speed test every so often so that I can get a good reading. I live in an area where the download speeds are at least 500, and it's showing me now that it's at 256. Hmm. Okay, I will be rebooting my modem pretty soon here. Um, Upload 24. That's good. That is it. What I pay for 20, so there you go. Where we're moving to, we're going to be getting much better internet. It'll be 35 upload and 1 gigabit, no, 1.5 gigabit download. Um, so that's going to be a good thing. Much better connection. I would love to have 100 megabits per second upload, but not there's nobody out there that does that except for maybe Google Fiber. Watchmen, it's a great tool. Let me show you what this does. Let me bring up this. Watchmen, I set a daily refresh of Watchmen. And in the config folder, it will download, or as you could tell, right now it's July 29th it's at 6 o'clock. Okay, got it. So at 6 o'clock today is going to change to 7:29, 6 a.m. But every single day, it just kind of checks everything and tells me which of these are not set correctly. Um, like missing entities and stuff like that. Now, the reason why you're seeing all this because when I was taking away the singlet bulbs and putting in inner, some of these kind of are now like ghost entities. They're like ghost entities. So those ghost entities will be still showing, especially if I maybe renamed them because I wanted to improve the naming convention of my light bulbs. So with this here, I need to just go through these one day and start removing them from the YAML file because that's where they're located. And this gives me an idea. It's telling me automation YAML on 14 17th line. Okay. So I go to that line and I can probably get rid of these items. And remember I said that I'm getting rid of scenes. Well, there's an automation that still calls to that scene. So little by little, I'll be working on that. Let me see here. So this is a really cool report. One of these days, I want to get this down to very few. Maybe like 4 items. There's always going to be a couple items that drop off here and there. But the Watchman report, really great tool. I like it a lot. It's great for troubleshooting. Um, Xbox is there. I'm not a big Xbox fan, and let me show you my latest score. You're gonna love this. Yeah, I don't play Xbox that often, so there you go. I'm not gonna show you more than that. Um, Wise is on there. With Wise, it's just showing the ability to turn off notifications, power, but I don't get the feed. Wise discontinued the feed. I think they are working on a more local version for an update, or maybe they'll put it in the new cameras that they build or develop. Who knows? But at this time, Wise does not support that, which is sad because I'm going to go to Real Link or I have to choose someone else for my thing. All right, let's look at something else here. Add-ons. So my add-ons, I use Cronny, which synchronizes my uh, the clock to a local time server. I was going to put it on times.windows.com so that it matches my computer time, but I'm trying it out with the ones. Oh, it opened up a new. Oh, I was holding down the control key accidentally. With these here, I'm not sure. Let me see if there's any errors. Okay, selected source. It's not saying if it's able to connect or not, but I'll look at this later. I really want to play with this because I really would like to have my local computer time being the exact same as my home assistant and vice versa. I want all my times in the house to be the same. Unfortunately, I'm not able to control the time on my phone. There might be a way if you break it and you upload something that could synchronize to a different time. But at this particular time, the cell phone providers provide that time, and there's nothing I can do about that, at least on a unbroken phone. All right, let's look at some more add-ins. Oh, okay, right here, back and go back. Here we go. And so, file editor. These are all. I decided to go with a different database. And I did some research and I found that InfluxDB is the best. So Home Assistant has its own built-in database. Um, Now I have 80 something devices. I have 80 devices, over 80. I have a ton of Wi-Fi devices too. Maybe like I might have like I don't know. Let me see. I'm not want to tell you incorrectly. I have only 13 Wi-Fi devices. Plus Groovy is Wi-Fi as well. I have a Groovy fan. I have two Groovy fans, and I have one Groovy space heater. Um, this doesn't control it. What I have to do was I created some. I created an input boolean that triggers a routine in Alexa, and that's it basically. I know I can do a call service too, but I decided that all I needed was three speeds: off, low, high. That's it. And I'm not gonna go, like to one, two, three, four, five. That will never happen. But it's good because I'm able to control the fans by selecting low, and then I click on high on the input boolean. I have a numeric input boolean that I can slide, and it's programmed in the automations to turn on the input booleans that trigger the automations in Alexa. So too easy. That's the workaround. At this particular time, there is no API, as far as I know, for Groovy fans and heaters. There are integrations available for Groovy humidifiers, dehumidifiers, and of course, most, at least as far as I know, all the lights that Groovy makes. But I'm not going to say all, so I'm going to say most. And so with the Groovy lights, and I appreciate that they just did not say Groovy. They actually say Groovy lights because that tells you that they're not going to control the fans or anything like that. Maybe at some point Groovy will open up a local API for all of their devices because Groovy just does not sell lights. They sell a lot of great stuff, a lot of just home automation stuff that's all controlled in the Groovy app. I hope that one day they'll give full control through the Groovy app. I know they want to keep control. I wish they didn't. I wish it was 100% local, but it isn't. With Groovy, they refuse to do it. So through the Groovy app, allow Home Assistant to take control of everything that each device that they make has control of. You know what I mean? That you are able to control. I would rather have full control within Home Assistant, and Govee app will just be an app where I register the device. I'm still going to buy Govee lights on Amazon. I plan on continuing to buy forever because I want to put this light in the backyard, put that light in the backyard. And yes, my backyard will be very bright, but it's not going to be all lights on at the same time. I'll be turning on different lights throughout the night. So it gives a different look and I'll probably have all the lights on when there's a party or if you have any guests over to entertain. Let's see here. Let's see. Go back to add-ons. But yeah, I have a lot of devices, right? I know I went off and now I'm back on InfluxDB. I have a lot of devices, and I don't plan on stopping with creating automations. I've read somewhere that the Home Assistant DB does start to get a little sluggish. So it's a good idea to get with an actual DB. I was going to go with MySQL only because, or MySQL, only because I'm used to it. 'Cause, I have a few WordPress websites and it uses MySQL. Um, but then I read somewhere where InfluxDB was rated the highest, at least as far as I know. So I went with InfluxDB, and also I got Grafana, which grabs the analytics of your devices in history and outputs it into Grafana in form of charts. It's like using Power BI that Microsoft puts out. Grossi is a little thing on its own. I haven't really started using it yet, but these are all the items that you can do within. Um, it really doesn't have much to do with Home Assistant, but the fact that there is one place where I can get all these type of apps. I wonder if there is a finance app to manage your finances in the same system. So I don't have to have a service somewhere else or another, software running. At least I know that if I do anything here, it gets backed up. And that comes to the next thing that we got here. I got the MQTT broker, Mosquito broker. But I want to take a look at the OneDrive backup. OneDrive is great. I know a lot of people use Google Drive for backups. It's easy. You download the add-on for that, and you set it up, and it uploads your backups to Google Drive. As you can tell right now, it's doing a backup at this moment. It did the backup already about 11 minutes ago, and it's now uploading to OneDrive. Eventually, it's going to end up, and this is the OneDrive Sync app. The last time it backed up was on at 9:55, and it does it every 6 hours. So every 6 hours, it backs up. It works great. Now let's take a look at the settings so that you can see what's going on. So there's a setting in here where you can set it once a day. You can, I mean, hey, if you feel comfortable, go ahead and do once a day. Number of local backups. The local backups are stored right here. Now, right now, I'm looking at the Home Assistant computer remotely. So it's just through the network. I'm at the IP address of my Home Assistant, and I'm going to go to backup. And if I sort by date, there it is. This is the most recent backup, and that's the backup that was at 10 o'clock. So if I ever need to, if my system crashes for some reason, it just went haywire. I had to reformat the computer. It set everything up from scratch again. At least I have a backup of my data. I have not done that yet. So I have no idea what I'm up for when it comes to that, unfortunately. So hopefully that would never happen, but you never know. You never know what happens these days. Plus, your hard drive, they do go out. I mean, after a certain amount of use, especially with Home Assistant, it's constantly running. When I walk through a hallway, it turns on the lights and then it makes a recording of that in the historical logs. So it's constantly writing, reading, writing, reading, writing, reading, and it's off and on all day. And so eventually that hard drive will go out. About 100 years from now, okay? Home Assistant. Yeah, it'll probably be like 5 or 6 years. I will have to replace the hard drive. At least I back it up 6 times a day so that I don't have to worry about it. And I also have it set to whenever there's an update, it will back up that as well. So this is a really great tool. It's never failed on me. It's awesome. That's all I gotta say. Samba Share allows you to see your folders by way of an IP address in the network. So Samba Share helps you do that. And I'm sure there's other things they could do, but that's what I use it for. And then we got Zigbee to MQTT, which connects to my coordinator, my bridge and gateway, well, that communicates out to the devices that are on Zigbee. I have not touched Node-RED yet. There's nothing there. I installed it, and that's something that I want to get into eventually because I have been looking at um, different people's Node-RED. There's a black gentleman who does it, and there's a white gentleman who does it. I don't remember their names right now. That's why I'm saying that, but there's two. They're really good at Node-RED. Both of them are, and I watch them both. And I just can't remember their names right now. Um, I think it's Doctor Ziz, him. And there's another gentleman who is really good at Node-RED. In fact, as far as I know, he uses nothing but Node-RED. Like, I don't think he does any of these items here. I don't think he does this. He probably does, but I'm just saying, like, his whole entire thing is all in Node-RED. It's just 100% Node-RED. And it looks pretty easy, you know. I think once you get into some things like these items right here, you might have to get to learn a few things. And eventually I will get there. So that's my add-ons. Let's look at Hacks. Now, Hacks is a separate plug. You have to install it. Once you install it, you're able to go into the store and find applications that are still being worked on. Not necessarily beta, but has not been accepted by the Home Assistant board or community or whatever, whatever you want to call it. So you got a lot of great stuff like Has Agent, which talks to your computer, Local Toya, which tries to create a local network to your Wi-Fi devices, which doesn't work. Okay, but it works better than Toya. Um, when I did Toya, there were certain switches that would not turn. So when I switched to local Toya, it did actually work. But it doesn't work without the internet. So yeah, I already showed you Watchmen. Groovy land control, that's the Groovy part. Um, I try to get this to work. This is the National Weather Service alerts, but haven't quite got it to work yet. I'm still working on that. Circadian rhythm, um, great. Definitely get this. And you set it up to where your light bulbs will respond to that level, to whatever the sun is at in the sky during the day. It is great because in the morning I come to work and it's like all orangey, and then throughout the day, because I got a sensor in the bedroom or in sorry in my office, and as I move around, it's literally changing the lights, but it's so subtle that you don't really notice it. Sometimes I have to think about it. It's like, what time is it right now? 12? I look at the light, it's bright blue. But then when I get off at 4 and I'm looking at the clock, I look up and the light is not as blue. Then I come into my office at 7 o'clock. You know, the sun is still out, it's summertime, and it's more of an orangey color. You know, more of that, that soft light, color, which is really great. And then at night, it turns into a really dark orange look, which is creating a circadian rhythm of calmness. It's not that bright white because we want that bright white while you're at work. Weather alerts, I've been using that. Blitz is the lightning detection, which I think is great. Alarmo, I'm still working on this one, which is an alarm system for your home assistant. Right now, I'm using automations, but I'm still plugging away at this and trying to perfect it. It didn't quite work exactly the way I wanted it, so I'm not 100% using it. Lightener. What lightener does is if you have a lamp at 20%, another lamp at 60%, and you want to turn on the lights, on a normal helper group or light group, it will switch everything. If you put it at 80%, everything goes straight to 80%. So what you do is you create some entities by grouping some lights together. And if one is at 20 and one is at 60, you turn it up a little bit, it will still maintain that level. Like it'll go from maybe 20 to 24%, and maybe 60 will go to 61 or 62%. And you bring it up all the way, it will take both of them to 100. But if you take it to like 90, it'll probably take that 60% to 100, and that 24 will probably shoot up to 85 or 90. So it maintains the brightness of all the bulbs perfectly. And I think it's a great thing. I really do like Lightener. Very awesome, awesome thing. On the front end, um, I did download some slider buttons, which if you look at here, instead of the typical Home Assistant ones, I can literally come here, click on this for the color, and then click back. And if I wanted to, I can also change from dark orange light to white, 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 daylight white. So that's really cool. It's really quick. It's easy. I like this better than the built-in version of on Home Assistant for that. Let me see here. The timer bar, I love it. And let me show you an example of the timer bar. So I take medication. I mean, it's ibuprofen and acetaminophen. This was prescribed by the doctor, by the way. But these are over-the-counter drugs. It's the only drugs I take. Um, and so every 8 hours, I can take ibuprofen. Every 4 hours, I can take acetaminophen. I can take these together. But as long as my next dosage of ibuprofen is not under 8 hours. This timer here, I have it set up where if I hit this button right here, I'll show you real quick. I take my acetaminophen, run it, and as you can see, it's counting down. I come back later, and I'm like, okay, I'm feeling some pain. What do I do? Oh, I got 3 hours left before I can take anything else, and I have to wait. You know, but this has been working out for me really because sometimes I'll do this for 8 hours, then I'll take this for 4 hours, go back to 8 hours to try to mix up because you don't want your body to get used to anything. So there's a way to reset this. Oh, right here. Wait a minute. I'll make sure I'm doing the right one because that is correct right there. Finish. All right, so it takes it back to idle. So at least I'm able to keep track. I love that um, about this. All right. And so that is about it. A uptime card, of course, you can connect it to third-party services to determine how long something's been up. The vacuum card, room card. I mean, there's just a lot of great things in here, guys, that you can download to improve upon your dashboard. And these are plugins you can add that are not necessarily accepted by the Home Assistant community, but you can still add it at your own risk. Keep that in mind. Um, But with Home Assistant, it is at your own risk because there is no tech support. There is no warranty. Nothing like that. It's not like Samsung. We got tech support. It's not like Singlet or Philips Hue. You can always call somebody to get support. No, nothing like that. Nothing like Alexa support, which have been pretty good over the years. I'll be honest with you. Amazon Alexa support have been pretty good. Um, they take a little bit of time to fix an issue, but it took about a week. I explained to them what happened. I gave them permission to access the logs. They grabbed it, from the device itself, and within a week or so, it was probably like a week and a half. It got fixed. It just started working, and then I got an email saying, "Hey, your issue's been resolved. Please take the feedback." And I was like, "Yep, A plus all the way." It may have taken a week and a half, but the fact is, the issue got resolved, and there was nothing that I had to do on my end. Um, so let's see, and that's about it, folks. I got a really good amount of tabs here for every single room, bathroom, water heater, which there's nothing in the water heater. Um, outside, and this are all the outside items. I could. Oh, one thing I like about this is I put the outside weather with the inside weather, so I can compare, like in the hottest part of the day, the temperature of the house. Maybe I'll put on here like when the air conditioner was on and off, blah blah blah. But yeah, that's something to look at. This right here is a good thing. We got the weather, and I got just a bunch of weather stuff. Air quality, um, UV index, and also this is just a graphic from the NWS. But if, I can see where storms are at, and I live in this area right here, so this is where I pay attention. In fact, it looked like there's something going on right there. It could be just rain, but it does look like no, there's nothing near us really. Oh, but there was some activity earlier today. About the closest was oh, that's the azimuth. Okay, let me pull up the distance. The closest storm that came to us is 221 miles. I think I had this set to 500 miles, but it won't alert me. Like I have an automation that says if it goes 20 or below, alert, and then wait 15 minutes, and then it does it again. And if there's a storm right on top of us, it will alert every 5 minutes. I do that because, yeah, I do have a lot of interest in lightning storms, and so I like to track them. I think it's pretty cool. Um, and I think the reason why I do that because I was literally afraid of lightning when I was a child. I really was. I mean, definitely afraid. Over the years, I studied lightning, and I'm not talking about thunderstorms. I'm talking about lightning specifically. That bright flash of light that happens all of a sudden, and you have no time to prepare for it. So that's the kind of thing that I started studying it and started reading about it and found out that lightning is more dangerous than what I thought. There's my cute babe. So yeah, um, that's what scared me. And so I have a lightning detection on my home assistant. There you go. All right, well that's it, fellas. I just want to show you guys around, kind of show you what I got. There's my notifications. Um, I don't know. I haven't really set this up yet, so that's why nothing is there. Oh, Enter doesn't come with energy readings. So unfortunately, as I get rid of the singlets, this will go away. There will be nothing here. So that's unfortunate. Log view history. Oops, I'm not going to show you where I live. All right, calendars, studio code. Yeah, so that's about it, guys. I want to thank you very much for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, comment below. Um, I know my videos tend to be long, but I just want to say thank you for watching anyway, and really appreciate it. In the description, there's information about how you can do Cash App and PayPal. Um, I'm just starting to grow my channel. It's brand new. Well, my channel is really old, but I haven't really done anything with. I just upload a video every once in a while. It's like, let me upload this. No big deal. But now I'm trying to do this every single week. Once we get moved, I'll be able to do a lot more. But right now we are working on buying a house in Arizona. We live in Texas now, right near Fort Cavazos, which used to be called Fort Hood. But hey, you have a good day, good night, whatever time you're watching this. Peace out. Live long and prosper. Teamwork makes the dream work.